need to draw your cards but don't have lethal set up, just yet, and you just need that little bit of extra healing, and I think Spice Bread Baker fits that perfectly. Obviously, it comes with downsides in the form of, you could end up drawing a minion off Refreshing Spring Water, which, then can cause some issues down the line. But overall, I like the inclusion overall. I like the inclusion. I almost said overall twice. Wow. Dodged it there. And another thing on the Death Rattle Demon Hunter, you mentioned 2 players brought it. They both won their groups, so that's a good recipe for success. And this opening hand is terrible for Language Hacker. Draws both encumbered pack mules, which if you have them in the mulligan, you don't get the copy effect, which is just downright inefficient.
But it's good for us because it means he can't crash the Observer Stream.
Yep, very true.
So that's fine. He did have an interesting hand to throw away, actually. He threw away both Panthers there. In those positions, personally, I tend to trust my deck and keep one of them and assume that I'm going to draw 3 more cards. It's a low curve deck, I should be all right. But he was obviously looking for something very different there. And didn't get whatever it was he was after, because now he's got this horrible looking hand.
Yeah, really not the hand you want against Mage, who actually does have good ways to pick apart these board states. And if you're not developing a lot of things at once and forcing them to have to split their removal, you can just kind of get picked apart while the Mage completes their quest, which is not ideal.
Yeah, and even the watch post is an interesting one, right? Because it gives targets for the frost spells, which you're going to have to give anyway. So you get on with it and you get your watch post out there. Maybe you get to mess up a couple of Fr0zen's cards, but it's not the ideal gotcha that it is in some decks.
Yeah.
Look at it, it's gone already. And Fr0zen's going to get to activate the Brain Freeze because the Watchtower was out there.
Which will complete the first quest line. And even though it's a very expensive Incanter's Flow in hand, it is still an Incanter's Flow in hand. So, Ice Barrier picked up as well. So now has, all 3 spell schools to be able to get that second portion of the quest rolling. And Language Hacker's turn, not great. He knows that going for Encumbered Pack Mule plus Guardian Og Merchant can just get picked apart by what's there, but maybe he doesn't really have an option.
Yeah, go for the other choice then, TJ. Which
Look at his face. It's just pure disgust.
It's like, is there anything I can do? I mean, by waiting a turn, let's go down a rabbit hole, TJ. Let's go down together.
Okay, I'm ready. Hold on one sec. Let me put my rabbit hole clothes on.
Okay.
All right, let's jump.
Right. By waiting a turn, he gets to deny Fr0zen in some worlds where he doesn't have the secret. He gets to deny him a frost spell, and then he can play both pack mules together.
Okay, that wasn't really a rabbit hole. That was a hole that was just someone who took a piece of canvas and painted an illusion of a hole on it and placed it over a rock. And so then I went to jump and just hit my face right in smack dab in the middle of the rock.
Thanks.
That's just logic.
All right, so
rabbit holes have no logic.
All right.
Give me something different. Give me something else.
How about he doesn't play anything until Greybow apart from this one minion, and then everything gets the Greybow effect afterwards?
All right, so he waits until 7, okay?
Yes.
Denying the spells, the targeted spells, denying quest completion until, I guess it would be 6, and then go Greybow plus Guardian Og Merchant.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about that?
Yeah, I'm down with that.
How about you go for Teacher's Pet and hope to hit Mooklet as your first minion?
I mean, also, yeah. That's a reasonable point.
How about you concede and play game 2?
I don't think we're at that point yet, but might be rapidly approaching it. Obviously, holding on to stuff could mean that he picks up composting or, the squirrel. But, I mean, this is just everything's working against him.
So unlucky that when he's played one threat in 5 turns, his opponent had an answer. Just look how sad he is about that unluckiness.
Hey, he's played 3 threats, and he's had an answer to all 3 of them.
All right. In 5 turns.
Yeah, in 5 turns. Yeah.
It's pretty unlucky, to be fair.
Yeah.
One of the things, actually, that was a mini punish for not playing anything is it allowed Fr0zen to pick an expensive card off his studies. Whereas normally you're messing around trying to play sort of 1-2s and things. He had the time to actually play this Steward of the Scrolls, which is a luxury item off that studies. So
really
that's a mini punish.
I mean, this is okay in the sense that it challenges the Steward of Scrolls on board, or at the very least forces some more resources out of Fr0zen, like this first flame. But honestly, it's not really slowing him down that much. He's just continuing to get some good stuff going.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a removal spell living on the board. It's like just a 4/4. It removes your 3/3s, 2/2s, 1/1s, that sort of thing. You get the picture?
I got it.
Fills in your rabbit holes.
Picture received. All right.
Well.
How
do you defend as your druid deck here? Yeah. He's supposed to be attacking, but this is just down to how do I not die? I was just about to say, when do you think the evocation might get played, but Fr0zen's just going to rip it before he starts drawing cards with his Arcane Intellect, I assume. Okay.
Sure. I mean, Karen's Flow played. Spell damage on the board. Oh, look, a hot streak.
I love how he had to play the Mana Biscuit first just to make the space in his hand. It was great.
Yeah.
I was just looking at it going, why is he doing that? Oh, he's going to draw 1 million cards, that's why.
I can see.
His hand space.
Yep,
Oh,
Hacker
there's
has actually taken option C and doesn't want to see any more of that nonsense. And it's 1-0 to Fr0zen. And Language Hacker just didn't even get to go down a rabbit hole. He just fell into the rock that TJ fell into.
Yeah, no. It gets us all from time to time, right? That old canvas painted like a hole that's actually a rock. Very common one. But yeah, let's take a look at what Language Hacker has to answer the Mage in his lineup. Remaining, he has Garrote Rogue and the OTK Demon Hunter. I feel like both can be reasonable. So what does he want to... Does he want to keep anything else for either the Warrior or Demon Hunter on the other side? And it looks like that's where the Rogue's going to be pointed at. So it is going to be the OTK Demon Hunter queued up for Language Hacker.
Yeah, which means that he may end up having to run the Rogue into the Warrior at some point, which is not going to be much fun for him. But the situation he's in by losing that first game is already, like most last hero standings, put him into a bit of a bad spot here.
Yep.
All right. You've already summed this one up, TJ. You've already talked about exactly how the Demon Hunter wants to have that little spot in the middle where it gains a bit of health back and then proceeds to kill you a turn or two later. So,
yep.
I don't really know what else to add to it.
And then we also got to see the other part of the matchup where, if you are playing minions in the other game, like if you need to play Crimson Sigil Runner, it's usually wise to kill it off in the same turn or avoid it altogether if you can't kill it off and just complete the quest by other means, if at all possible. So, I mean, it can seem pretty straightforward, but not all the time. This is a very good opening for Language Hacker because he gets both sources of previous card draw right off the bat, which means that he doesn't really have to expend anything else in order to complete the first quest.
I guess something we could talk about a little bit is the pacing of drawing of cards here, because obviously he is going to actually be able to draw 5 cards this turn if he wants to.
Pleasure doing business.
He doesn't care. He's just going to draw the 5 cards. The reason that was relevant to me is because obviously if you overdraw by 1 on your quest, that's a card you don't get to draw next turn.
Yep, but it's 1 extra card that you get reduced, so that's a benefit. Just throwing away the Immolation Aura, making hand space now instead of potentially later. This is, I mean, not really going to do anything else with this mana. Had already attacked for the turn, so Hero Power does really nothing.
Just a license to go through everything here.
Yeah.
I feel that you always have to think twice before playing Acrobatics, just because you really want it after you play Kurtrus, but that's the only small consideration, I guess.
Another happy guildie.
Okay. Fr0zen has drawn both flurries as well, so the delaying tactics nicely on view as to why they work so well. Right.
My goodness. We're like
Another happy guildie.
a couple mana and an Il'gynoth away from lethal already. Okay. Glide is certainly interesting.
Do you want, though, to give Fr0zen a chance to get the frost spells when you know he hasn't got them? Or you know he hasn't got the ones that he can cast, at least? Not sure you do.
Yeah. But he could still go for it. But it looks like he's going to hold on to them, maybe post-quest completion, because it'll allow him to reset his hand and get all the discounts in.
This is silly.
Time grows short.
I guess we also need to look, like, he's got a 0 mana Arcanist, he's got a 1 mana Marok, he's got a 0 mana Fellscream. There's a world where he doesn't want to glide if he just...
Yeah, I know. It's kind of interesting.
He's just got most of the stuff. Fr0zen.
Yeah.
If your opponent won't play a minion, play one yourself. That's the whole point of this.
Yep. But, I mean, there's not even that much. Like, he doesn't have brain freeze, so it's not like he's getting that much off of it.
Try to slow your own minions.
Yeah, kills it off. All right, Kurtrus online. Finally, Fr0zen can start to complete the quest. But, you know, this is a situation that, you know, we saw very much so in the previous series of the day, or in one of the previous series of the day, where, you know, is it too late, right? Because that's only the first step of the quest. That's the draw spell. I mean, he can complete pretty much everything here. Actually, he can complete everything.
But Luna was in as well with the double flow going off, right? Everything's just so cheap right now.
Yeah, so the problem is the only arcane spell that's in hand is the Cram Session, which he would love to have post-quest completion, right? So this is going to be Discover spell. He's really looking for a cheap arcane spell here. Like, Primordial Studies would be fantastic if he can opt to discover it. Potion of Illusion is not cheap.
Oh my goodness, it doesn't... Oh, no!
Yeah.
Oh, does he just go for the Cram Session now, maybe? Or next turn with the lab partner and the potion and then another lab partner and then at least... no.
Yeah, I feel like he might have to complete the quest, right? Gonna dig one time. There's a free Cram Session? Alright. We've run out of time, though. Otherwise, he would have had an option to...
This is dangerous with 2 Cram Sessions now. Oh, I didn't use the other one. That's bad. It's fine. It's one's okay. It's all okay. Right. I feel like he's just drawn tradable cards every single turn.
I mean, the deck has a lot of tradable cards.
Well, yes, but no. It's like 4?
He has a Viper as well.
Happy guilty.
Okay.
So he has one Peddler, there's 4 tradables.
Right.
Gonna dig a little bit again. Okay. Free guild trader, 2 mana guild trader.
Doing business.
You just hope that Fr0zen doesn't kill you this turn. I mean, that's all he can do, right?
Yep. Can he afford to drop a guild trader now? Not really. Actually, because he wants to do acrobatics.
Time grows short.
Now he has to play something.
Another
Yep.
happy guilty.
Otherwise, he's going to overdraw, and he hasn't got Il'gynoth, and overdrawing would be a bad thing to happen.
Yep. All right.
I have proven myself.
Nobody's cards cost anything on either side. It's amazing.
This is ridiculous. So he's just gonna, he needs the empty hand space here. He's got the double spell damage on board. He's got a hot streak in hand. He's only got 2 mana available since the Dawngrasp wasn't online the previous turn. All right, Ignite is free, but that's a base Ignite, I believe. So it would be 6 damage with +2. I mean, we're not anywhere close. Imagine if this Dawngrasp had stuck and he could Potion of Illusion.
That's why I started laughing to myself. And I thought, no, I'll wait for TJ to finish and hope he doesn't spot it so I can look funny.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
it would be
always
great.
spot those. The double Dawngrasp, you always spot those.
I'm still waiting for someone to diligent note take of the quest in Shaman one time and see what happens. Just go through it all twice.
Time runs out on me.
Yeah. Bring water, that's more draw. So he's probably got it next turn.
Yeah. I agree with this assessment. Next turn he wins the game, which means Language Hacker can assume the same thing, because he's seen all this nonsense going on. There's only 8 cards left. So he can dump the Moargs and start drawing off his acrobatics himself. You just drop all the cards on the board and acrobatics and hope you hit.
Yeah. He could also just take the heal, right? Because he still has a Fellscream Blast left in the deck.
Okay.
If Il'gynoth ended up being like the last card, he could just go up to 30 and then say, all right, you got to kill me from 30.
I got it all.
All right, he just plays both of those for free, draws 2 more cards. Fellscream Blast, there's the Il'gynoth. He got it.
I got it all.
That is a lot of damage.
This is so much damage. This is
Oh my
5,
goodness.
10, 20, is this 80? 60.
60 plus could have also Fellscream Blast the second Fellscream Blast on the Arcanist Dawngrasp on the other side, which would have been 20, right?
Yep.
Because there was no Talented Arcanist, so it would have done the same. So had 80 points of damage. 80. Not 18, 80.
And for some reason, only gets him
by emphasizing.
Yeah, it just didn't work. Gets him 1 game win though. Shame he couldn't have saved some of that damage and put it in the next game. Like turn 1, he's got 30 damage left over, just 2-1. I won again.
Yeah. Oh, if you deal over 60 damage to your opponent, it just carries over. Yeah, what a world we would live in that case, huh?
The old OTK Demon Hunter just game 1 3-0'd you because I did 120. In fact, 4-0'd you in a best of 5. All right, Death Rattle Demon Hunter. This is the wild card to some degree in this lineup. We've seen people in Americas bring this on and off, and it seemed to do its job when it turns up, but it doesn't turn up very often because there's a lot of good Demon Hunter options.
No, but there's so many good cards in this deck to be OTK Demon Hunter, right? Farwatch Post. Fellsteel Executioner is just good. It's just good. It's just so much damage packed into a single card. And he is going to throw it away, obviously, because he, wants to make sure that he actually hits a good curve. But still, when you're talking about the ability to just deal that much damage with a pretty cheap weapon at a point in the game, it's quite good. This is not a great opening hand, though, for Fr0zen. Eldar Inquisitor with the Raging Fellscreamer is okay, right? Like, sure. He can put... Oh, look at that! Neil's playing with stuff.
Yeah. That's
Nicely
usually a
done.
bad sign, but I'm trying. Yep, 3 mana, 4/3 weapon, huh? Seems good. No difficulty corrupting it in this deck either. The language hacker's going to have to try and time this, isn't he? So that he takes just enough damage. Because there's no way he can keep control of this board, I wouldn't have thought. He's just going to have to try and race.
No, that's the issue, right? When you're talking about a Death Rattle Demon Hunter, is that it feels like you can never fully remove their board. And so you often find yourself in these situations where, sure, you can heal up, but then the persistent damage from like Felsteel Executioner, the death rattles that just keep summoning more minions, that you're actually still dying even though you're healing up and clearing things off. Obviously, we can find ourselves in these positions where we have incredibly slow starts, which is what Fr0zen has right now. No watch posts, none of the 2-drop boars, none of the 3-drop Beastmasters. So it's just going to have to kind of play things the old-fashioned way of, spend all my mana on my minion that's going to die and then nothing's going to happen afterwards.
That's a big deal, because that means that Language Hacker can kill things in the knowledge that more things aren't going to spawn from them a lot of the time. Depending what the things are. Like, oh, hey, I know you haven't got a 3-drop in your hand. If I kill this, it's supposed to drop me another 3-drop. So that's going to have a knock-on effect of not just being a slow start, but giving Language Hacker valuable information that he can actually use. Because sometimes there's good information that you can pick up. It's like, oh, my opponent's going to kill me next turn, but that doesn't help you when you explode on the next turn. But this is actually useful information.
Yep. And this is perfect for Language Hacker to just keep trucking along on the quest, not having to worry about the board.
I see.
As long as he remembers to cycle the peddler before attacking. Because I've made that mistake 1,000,000 times. Attack, draw a card. Oh no, it only draws the peddler. Just remember that. Luckily, Language Hacker's not stupid like me, so that works well for him.
All right. Finally, Farwatch Post picked up, but Language Hacker doesn't really... I mean, he does have a way to deal with it, with the Immolation Aura, but it also means that he will then no longer have a way to deal with these wide board states, so...
He also quite possibly would have wanted to glide. Gliding away the coin is good fun.
Mm-hmm.
But now he'll glide himself into an expensive hand if he does it.
Yep.
Demons? Demons.
I wonder if he's thinking of doing it anyway, thinking that, well, the quest reduction is worth.
It would make everything the original cost. Other option is to like Moark Fellscream Blast and then attack. But again, key piece of removal and healing, honestly.
Yeah, and 2 pieces of the combo when you're racing. I know it's not like... Against Hunter, it's easy, you just do it. But against this, you might actually need more pieces of combo to find more quickly.
Yeah, and it's also awkward because you could also say, all right, well, he can attack first and then trade it with his peddler to see if that changes his decision. But then it would just be more expensive, whatever he would trade into. So, like,
right.
You'd have to do it first. So, very interesting. Could be it's a complicated decision. Decides to do nothing, which, I don't disagree with because he really doesn't want an Immolation or a 1 million on the board. He's willing to take the increased cost of whatever comes off the top in order to just see what Fr0zen has to see if it's more worth it to go Immolation or the very next turn.
Yeah, we didn't get to that conclusion, but we'd eliminated everything as an option. So when you've eliminated everything, nothing is all that remains.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like wise words. It's just stuff I said.
Yep, and now he's going to get the Glide off, which you mentioned it. Gliding the coin back in the deck is good. Now Fr0zen just has a dead draw at some point off the top, and his hand size is getting reduced significantly. He was at, 7 cards plus the coin? Maybe Fr0zen's not too upset about that, though, because he really was lacking. He picked up the coin! And he gets to play the Inquisitor anyway! Oh my goodness.
Wow. Language Hacker doesn't know why he bothered.
Yeah, he can clear it, but again, now he has an Il'gynoth in hand, and he's not progressing the quest at all. Fr0zen luckily has a couple of dumpable cards on the left side of his hand, which means that he can get that skull to outcast position next turn.
Right. Is he in outcast position now, TJ?
It is, yes. Oh, wait, he picked another one up off the top. Yep. All right, but I think he wants to develop a board, Cold Neophyte, to stop maybe quest completion for another turn, or to at least slow things down, and then go Skull next turn. This makes sense.
Language Hacker's going to be so upset when he sees the first skull. I want to see how he's going to be absolutely raging when he sees the second one.
Job done.
This is weird. This is not how this works at all. This matchup normally. It's gone weird in both directions.
Oh, warlock.
Yeah. You pick up any good. Okay, discounted Illidari.
Oh! That's just too much damage over the next 2 or 3 turns, and he can preload the Tusk Piercer in case he needs mana for anything.
Yeah.
Too much.
Um, 9 damage showing. Illidari Inquisitor, hero power weapon is 10. 19 damage showing. Well, 19 damage from our perspective, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Language Hacker can I-beam one of these away to prevent lethal, but can he prevent lethal for 2 turns in a row with both the Illidari Inquisitors?
I mean, one way to prevent lethal is to get your own. If he gets the sigil down, has he got the mana for the sigil? He has. If he gets that down, get the Tusk Piercer down. You play the Kurtrus. Maybe you draw Acrobatics. Get his own lethal. Or get a massive heal 1 turn and then his own lethal the turn after. Right,
Oh, and a Cold Neophyte picked up as well. Oh my goodness.
I feel like I say things, and while I'm saying things, the game is intervening on the things.
Yep.
Ouch. Ooh. Ah.
Yeah, yep. All those noises. Yep.
Practice those.
Thinking the same thing. I can tell. Solid stuff.
I mean, you've got the TJ, the horn that sounds at various times. So, thought I'd try some noises.
And okay, tradable. All right, tradable again. Right. Oh, he hit the jackpot.
He really needs. This is nonsense. He really needs to try and gain some health here, but he's just playing this stupid game at the moment, which is trade into trade into trade.
They will never catch me.
Still going. Oh, okay. So he can Immolation Aura, and then play the Persistent Peddler. Oh, Talented Arcus Immolation Aura clears.
He's got to do this. He's going to explode, TJ. He's going to be so.
I know. We all know this, but from his perspective, like, he gets to draw 2 more cards. Oh, and draws into lethal. Like that, he needed 1 more turn. That's the combo in his hand. That's all 5 pieces of the combo in his hand. And he really put some effort into those claps. Like, you gotta commend him.
The chair back and was clapping whilst moving towards the camera like he was on like a monorail or something. It was amazing effort.
Just incredible. Like actually having the coordination to clap above your head while you're scurrying your feet backwards. Like, it's like that, you know, trying to pat your belly while rubbing your head in a circular motion. You know, you can't do both because your brain wants to either pat your head and your belly or rub your head and your belly. It's hard to do both. So, you know what? That was impressive by lnguagehackr. That takes some coordination. Some limb independence. There you go. Throwing a term at you. It's a drumming term.
Limb dependence.
Yep, some limb dependence.
I want to see it again because it was amazing, and the game was actually just such a weird game as well. Both players drew pretty well, I felt. Well, Fr0zen didn't. Look at this. Maybe there's a motive.
We got a portion of it in the replay at least.
Garrot Rogue, which lnguagehackr I think has been pretty good on. He's looked solid on it. He hasn't APAC'd it very much.
I like how that's just a verb now. Yeah, he has looked pretty solid on the Garrot Rogue, so he's opting to go for the Mancrick variation, playing Mancrick and Kazakus.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, Kazakus has just become a staple. I think that players were on the fence about it for a while, but it's just good. Like,
he cut it last week, and it's back.
There you go.
That's why I was saying it was interesting, because last week I think he was the hacker, one of the players, I'm pretty sure it was lnguagehackr, only played the Mancrick, and it looked weird, and I moaned about it all week. So I'm glad it's back. It makes me happy. Huh. Yeah.
Okay.
Right, this mulligan. The neophytes are just bad minions when they're not stopping any spells, I think.
Yeah.
Mancrick might fight for board.
Tusk Piercer, yeah. I'm looking at Fr0zen side because this is interesting. Coin Blackthorn, always a possibility, but is Garrot Rogue killing you at that point?
Not turn 6, it's not. And probably not turn.
Yes, but then you're
turn
sacrificing your mulligan to get to a point where, you know, you're
keep it.
I guess you're wanting to kill the next turn, right? Keep it all.
Because then you've got the curve to keep them occupied until you hit the Blackthorn.
Okay.
How about that?
I was just going to say...
he's playing sensible.
Yeah, I was saying throw Neophyte, and then the argument is to keep Blackthorn or not on the coin, and I was leaning towards no.
Right.
But I knew the middle two I wanted to keep, so...
I just wanted you to go 1, 2, 3, draw something in the meantime for 4 or 5, and then just Blackthorn it up. But yeah, if you're going to coin out the 3s, which is what, you know, sensible people would do, makes it a lot less likely. He's actually going to have a really good curve into this skull as well. The hacker interferes with that by neophyting into the coin turn, but unfortunately for lnguagehackr, there's now a watch post that Fr0zen's got to decide if he wants to play it now, or does he want to use it like a neophyte later on. A bad neophyte.
Yeah. Like, if you see an Octobot turn, right, you can just play Farwatch Post into the next turn because you're expecting card draw at that point. So...
lnguagehackr needs to secret passage. He needs to get things going. The question is, does he want to use one of these preparations to get that 1 extra mana in case he hits 2 2s or 4?
Yeah.
And he's going to do that. And he's going to be rewarded with all sorts of goodies.
Oh yeah, this is some really good stuff. I don't even casting this Olgra because it just puts something big on the board.
You also got the option to 1 thief and then plunder the first thing away and then plunder whatever comes off it as well.
Too soon.
Okay.
Alright, fair enough.
Yep. I think the plunders, while they offer good tempo, you don't know what's going to come out of the Beastmaster, and you'd much rather have those being chained off of your field contact draws to then clear the board so you're not super vulnerable. So I like where he settled in this turn.
Yeah, 3/7 is going to be hard to deal with, right? There's not a lot that takes that down, and the damage is relevant in Rogue. Sometimes the tempo can be huge, and it's a way of stopping Fr0zen from getting control.
Mm-hmm.
And if Fr0zen's doing the trading, the minions don't have charge. If you're doing the trading, they basically have charge because you're letting the new minion attack for each time.
Yep. This is a cool play. Whatever 3-drop didn't come out of this Beastmaster, he could play the Fel Rattler on the board, which would then allow him to clear things up and weaken the Mancrick, Enraged Mancrick on board. So still a little bit behind on tempo. Kazakus is fantastic because this is going to allow lnguagehackr to find a potential answer for what's going to happen next turn, or even just keep this tempo rolling, right?
Yeah,
see what he goes with. I would assume so, but I've said that a lot, and players go for 1. So I never definitively say, oh yeah, he's going for a 5 here. So I'm going to say, I would probably go for a 5 here. Yep, goes for a 5. Draw 2 cards, I think is reasonable with how his hand is.
So for me, I tend to go for 1s, but in this situation where you're trying to dominate, well, not dominate the board, but you're trying to fight for board whilst, sort of progressing your combo at the same time.
Kill your opponent. Bury him. Yep.
Is that the next Hearthstone ad?
Yep.
Choose suicide.
Coming soon.
So what is it? What did he get?
He got a 5 deal. I think he took the deal damage to things. I might be wrong.
We'll see. Nope, draw 2 cards. That's what I expected.
Rush deals damage. Alright, I was wrong.
Warlock.
Fr0zen needs a good skull or he's just going to die.
I mean, not the best, not the worst. I guess we can settle there. Oh, field contact. So this golem is actually pretty big now because he's going to get some juice for the field contact, being rewarded for the choice of going for draw.
Look at this nonsense. Do you even bother? What's the advantage of trading here?
So many options.
Yeah, because you could get stuck in this infinite loop.
Right.
He trades, Razorboard comes out. Then he has to trade again. Then the Death Speaker comes out.
Yeah, just don't let Fr0zen have that choice, right? Just do this, and then next turn you pop off, and you don't have to win the game next turn. You just have a massive board at the end of it.
Yeah.
And you probably have 9 or 10 cards left in your deck. So while Fr0zen's clearing up the mess you've left him on the board, you're busy trying to kill Fr0zen with Garrots, which only have to do 14 damage now, apparently.
Yeah. Which is easy. Easy.
It's
easy.
not that difficult, right? Exactly, especially with still both spell damages left.
Yep. All right, Farwatch posts. Again, you talked about like kind of this neophyte situation, where if you expect your opponent to be drawing cards next turn, which this seems like a reasonable situation to expect that.
Mm-hmm. The only problem now is that I didn't envisage the situation coming up where Fr0zen so urgently actually just needs things to be on the board attacking now that maybe he hasn't got the time or the mana to do that, even though he knows he wants to. Turn 6, he's finally got on the board.
Quite low, but actually has a good amount of like damage in hand / on board. I say that, and it's just a Felsteel Executioner. So. And this is just first field contact.
I kind of wanted to prep this Garrot into the deck.
Maybe a little risky. I guess not really. The Death's Head Cultist is the only form of healing in the deck. So, still usually in good spot regardless.
He did get to prep the cram session though after getting the spell damage, so that's a more useful use, I guess. But I want those Garots in there sooner rather than later, just to try and win the game. Of course, they're going to kill Fr0zen if he draws them.
Yeah.
It's his habit to wait until the end, because obviously that's how you use them 95% of the time or something. But it is okay when your opponent's got no health to just stick them in the deck and draw them.
Yep. Okay. That is first Shadow Step, correct? Yep, that's first Shadow Step.
Yeah.
So now I can just go for the draw train again, and now Fr0zen can he was looking for card draw. Pretty much anything that drew cards at this point from the Illidari studies. Because I don't think he thinks that he could win the game with just what he has. Just like Kurtrus plus Farwatch Post here, knowing the field contact is in hand, I think is reasonable.
Yeah. Yep. You've got to try and set up, I mean, some outlandish 2 or 3 turn lethal, yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to push 5 this turn down to 21 with just 5 showing. Felseal Executioner plus Hero Power next turn would be 9. I mean, he's still a ways off. And even if an Inquisitor's picked up next turn, has attacked with the weapon. So he's hoping that this can provide enough disruption with the Farwatch Post on board. But because Language Hacker has so much time, I don't think he's particularly worried about it.
Yeah, I think the play now is just dump your field contact. At some point, plunder the watch post away and just draw some cards, because he's only got 9 cards left. Just double check. He's not his second contact, right? If it's his second contact, it's a bit more silly. I'm pretty sure it's his first. Yeah, it's still his first contact, so. Or the other option, I guess, he could Garrot. Or he can't plunder as well. That's 6 mana.
I wonder.
Oh, you want to just pre-set up the Garots? I think
Yeah, and then just go
prize
next
plunder
turn.
here and like Octobot, Guardian Augmenter, and prize plunder away the Farwatch Post.
Yeah.
He can even shuffle Garrot now. Yeah, he can do 1 Garrot and then a prize plunder on the Farwatch Post. Yeah, this is good.
It's preloaded, so he gets the damage in because he only needs to hit them. He doesn't need to spell damage them. He's got at least, well, he's got a number of card draws next turn.
Oh, and it's got stealth.
To get. Can't even be seen.
Yeah. Not that it matters, because I don't. Language Hacker probably doesn't even want to attack into this 2-4. He just wants to get these Garots out of the deck. So, I mean, this is a reasonable amount of damage. Language Hacker could expect to die next turn, but, you know, from our perspective, this is very likely lethal.
Yeah, he's got to really... Oh, now it's surely lethal.
Yeah.
Because now he gets to play the second contact, plays the Garrot for free, and then draws a million cards with both contacts at once because he knows he'll hit enough Garots to win the game.
Yep.
There's only 5 real cards, so he plays this. Okay, I'd have played the second contact, I think. It's probably fine. Alright, if he hits 2 bleeds, it's still lethal, I think. They're 3 each.
Choose soon.
He's also got Brain Freeze into a bleed that would still be a lethal.
Yep. There it is.
There it is.
And by the looks of it, it looks like he hit 2 bleeds. Yep, there it is. Nicely navigated there at the end. Obviously, we could tell that it wasn't... I don't think it was guaranteed. There was 1 card in his draw chain there at the end that could have interrupted the lethal. I'm pretty sure. But nicely navigated there to give himself like the 99.9% chance. And now we got ourselves a tied series. So final matchup is going to be the Garrot Rogue again for Language Hacker. Fr0zen's last remaining deck is the Control Warrior, I believe.
Yeah, and this is... We highlighted this near the start as the sticking point, basically after game 1. This is tough. The stats from replay sites say 67% tough, but it's tougher than that. Because a lot of that 67%, weirdly, I think are playing the warrior wrongly a lot of the time.
I don't know, because you could also say that for the Garrote Rogue, right? Like,
sure. I mean, normally I would.
Yeah, this matchup can be a little bit more difficult finding the balance of like armor gain plus tempo to try and like preemptively stop your opponent from building up a board. So, you know, I can see it from both sides.
The real problem is Rancor. The Rogue doesn't want to extend too much in case of Rancor, because if it gets a 10 armor Rancor, the game is over. And so that sort of naturally puts some sort of slowdown onto the Rogue a lot of the time for me. And if you play as if it's not there, well, there's plenty of ways of blowing your board up anyway.
Yep.
And that all allows the warrior just to armor up so often. It's got the plate, as you can see in hand. It's also just got the mutinous, which whatever it eats, if you wait too long as the rogue, is usually fatal.
Mm-hmm.
Or often. Usually is a bit strong. I don't use strong language. I use often.
You know what, Neil? Live a little bit. Use that strong
usually?
language. Yeah, go with usually, you know?
Okay.
Upgrade to a large, right?
Supersize that often.
Yeah. Get that guac. You deserve it.
It always hits the Octobot TJ every time. And this is a problem already. It's now out of range of combo.
Oh no.
You can do a lot of damage as the rogue. Like if you're against Bob or the innkeeper or somebody, and you just want to do 70, you probably can. But a lot of things have to go right. Okay, there's a plan.
Kazakis into a 10.
That's also a plan. I've known situations where that has been correct. Once, ever. In the 100 times I've suggested it.
Okay.
Guy felt smart for half a day.
Little ordering from Fr0zen there, drawing the weapon first before the trade. Maximizing draw potential.
Just watching the armor total sneak up.
Alright. He's dealt with some of the armor gain. Still a heavy plate.
Yep.
Ooh, okay. Well, he's gonna take 3 here.
He is.
Could have just like minefield armored up, but
What do you think? What way do you go with the One Thief? You're trying to aim your normal thing, or you got to go for like Mask of Cthulhu or something?
Mask of Cthulhu is absolutely the best to get rid of the bulwark.
Okay.
Is just pretty much, if you are offered Mask of Cthulhu, I don't care what the other two options are in this matchup. You pick the Mask of Cthulhu.
What about if you already got a Mask of Cthulhu? Do you pick?
You still pick the Mask of Cthulhu. Yep.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know. That's probably cram session. Maybe even like Ignite. Actually, no, Ignite.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know. Ignite or Mask of Cthulhu. Like, because Ignite gives you that infinite damage, right? Turns you into that quest mage. But Mask of Cthulhu gives you the bulwark answer. I don't know. That would be tough. I honestly hope we see it.
Yeah. Let's hope we get the choice.
That'd be cool.
Fr0zen actually has things to worry about here. He can clear very easily, but actually it's not very easy. It's irritating, in fact.
He can take its draw first.
Seems like a wise plan. Nope. Awkward.
Yeah. Talon would get Mutinous this stage.
Yeah, I think he's in a bigger panic than that. Yeah, this seems... So it looked... The reason he didn't want to do this is because he's thrown away 4 removal points. However you want to define damage and removal. But the reason he has done it is because he's got more where that came from, but he hasn't necessarily got more health where that came from. He's trying to get above about 40-something to get into the super safe zone.
Yeah. And now Bladestorm's gone, so...
And the minefield.
And the minefield. Both of the ways to deal with this stealth golem.
The credit to language hacker there, to be fair, for setting up a situation where that removal was used up. I'm not saying he planned it to the exact letter, but by setting an awkward board, he made Fr0zen have to clear in an inefficient way, and now he's managed to stick a 5/5.
Yeah.
Choose soon.
So Language Hacker's just thinking if there's anything worthwhile here. If he wants to play a Wand Thief, which would give it... The big question is, does he want to give another draw over? And I think the answer is no.
Mm-hmm. And Fr0zen agrees. Got to decide whether he wants 2 plates, or if 1 visit to the buffet is enough.
What now?
No, 2 plates.
Yeah. I think that's the... I mean... I don't think there's much reason to go for development here. Rancor's there just in case things get a little out of control with the board state, and probably wants to hold on to a weapon swing to make sure he can deal with the Divine Shielded. Field Contact. So this is all... this is like all the combo pieces except for the Field Contact. This is pretty insane. Double reduction on the Garrotes. We'll get to dump a Secret Passage here. This is pretty... honestly, pretty good opening for Language Hacker. I mean, even though we see a lot of armor right now, he actually has gotten damage in the early game, and we'll get some more here, which is crucial to the game plan, keeping the armor in check.
I want to see when this Vol'jin chooses to come down as well, because that could wreak some havoc.
It could, and Language Hacker probably has to think about that plus Mutinous and hold on to a little bit of redundancy with spell damage, right? Always keep kind of a minion in hand. I also like the choice here to swindle instead of go for the Ogre. Obviously, Ogre is tempo, but he really wants to just accelerate the pace of this game, which means that if Ogre would come out of the deck for free, essentially, at a certain draw point, he wants to swindle to draw more cards from his deck instead of having more tempo on board, because that's going to be a better chance to win than the opposite.
Yep. So he just chooses to shoot his own minion, playing around Rancor and brawls and things like that to some degree as well. Largely the Rancor though, and he's being very careful not to have a whole host of 1 and 2 health minions out there. And now he's forced brawl. This is kind of traditional, right? This has been as old as time. You play 3 minions and you force the warrior to brawl at that spot, and you say, no, I'm not playing more than 3. You're going to have to brawl this.
I mean, Vol'jin, I think, is not bad here. Because you can always brawl the golem away on the next turn. You get a minion in play, and you might be able to get something crucial out of hand to be able to block whatever Language Hacker is going to do. You give him the extra draw, though, which is like the downside. It's really tough. This is a tough turn. If he loses the brawl, what happens then? Like, that's the question.
Just don't lose it.
Oh, all right, cool.
Just
win. Then I brawl every time. If I know I'm going to win.
He could go just picking up more cards and just take another 5. Like, he is on 43. And most of his deck must be good. He's going for it, TJ.
Hey-ya!
Kill it. Kill the thing that does spell damage things.
But that thing also dies to Rancor.
Don't kill it. 44. Get
41.
we mustn't do this. Just sit there, just commentating the health total.
Do what?
41, 39, 37, 36.
I'm actually incredibly curious what it's going to be here, what the health toll is going to be here. How much attention do you want to pay to this this Rancor? Do you double trade in? Do you take the damage?
Oh, it's actually very awkward.
You hope the Rancor's not there?
You don't even kill the thing, so you've got to then waste another card killing it with Brain Freeze.
I mean, hoping the Rancor's not there is just feels like a language hacker style, you know?
It does, but he's played around it so much, and Fr0zen's obviously struggling for something. What's in Fr0zen's hand? I think you get the sense, if you're as experienced as language hacker, that the Rancor's probably there. This seems like a good compromise.
Yep. And then holds back the spell damage. He's already seen the Vol'jin. If Fr0zen wants to spend 7 mana on Mutinous, by all means.
Right. Wow. This might be a better brawl because you're guaranteed to hit something that you want removed.
Yep. All right.
What happens? He hits them both. Trying to work out what the next break point is. 41 is actually a break point, isn't it? For dagger plus 8 5s, where you get 3.
5 spell damage is difficult to get, though.
Right.
Because he's already played...
he's lost a Shadow Step, right? Because he got his...
Yeah, he has 1 Shadow Step remaining.
To play. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's played Kazakus, so he can't get it that way either.
Many options.
Yeah.
He does have a Primordial Studies that he picked up, though. A Primordial... whatever. Mage Studies. That's some more.
This is hard. He's going to take the overdraw.
Oh. I mean, he could.
Okay, he's just going to dump Passage. This is fine. He's so deep in his deck that I don't think the Passage really matters. Okay.
Yeah, I guess he couldn't afford to burn the Shadow Step because he's got the rest of what he needs in his hand.
All right, well, here's Bulwark. Yep. So I feel like this is a Wand Thief kind of game.
Very much so.
And he's free to take the damage because the Bulwark and armor has both armor vendors in hand as well. This is going to be very difficult for language hacker, I feel.
The studies will help, but he needs more than that.
Yeah. Okay.
Looking
Looking for Mask of Cthulhu. Nope. Oh, wait. No. Deck of Lunacy.
Yeah.
He's got a Shadow Step and a Prep.
Okay, I'm listening.
What could those even give?
City tax.
No, because they would
3.
be, yeah, 3. Is there anything crazy from 3?
I wonder.
Bulwark. Spells on... spells on 3.
Spells on 3. Rogue spells on 3. Do those exist?
There's a thing that does 3 damage. Not many.
Yeah,
Are you Googling? Am I supposed to be cheating at this point?
No, it doesn't matter at this point. He didn't take it.
That's not the point. He just never stopped us before. I don't intend to... Cloak of Shadows. Coerce. Shroud. Sketchy information. That's about it.
I'm looking for ones that deal damage. Can I get ones that deal damage?
Voices,
No.
please.
What about a Royal Librarian? Alright, that's armor. And that's armor. And... Wait for it. Armor.
52.
54.
54. Alright, this needs to be Phoenix of... Oh, it's Guild Trader. Can you make that work? You can get 6 somehow. I don't know how you get all the mana together to do it. 6 8s of 48. It's not enough.
So many.
Now we're looking at any rogue spells. What about a third Garrote?
Third Garrote. 12 times 6 is 72. That would work.
So it's got to be third Garrote then.
A charming composition.
Okay.
Ooh.
Wicked Stab.
I mean, it's damage.
Might be enough.
I give up.
Nope. He's gonna tap out. Yeah, not gonna get there. Bulwark plus all that armor. He's just not gonna have enough time. So, Fr0zen takes the series. Control Warrior coming in clutch there at the end, and honestly, like that was such a different showing, right? We saw Control Warrior take on some of the other aggressive decks, right? I'm gonna lump Garrote Rogue into this category because the armor game is relevant. You know, it's aggro decks or Garrote Rogue. It wasn't performing well. It was struggling a little bit. But just being able to have kind of this matchup in your back pocket, if you can rely on your other decks to get you to this point, which Fr0zen was able to do, then, you know, having that Control Warrior come out and just put on a clinic against Garrote Rogue is a fantastic situation. You can see just how rough that matchup is because lnguagehackr had a pretty good opening. He's able to stick a lot of damage. He was able to draw through his deck incredibly quickly. And it did seem like some things were going wrong for Fr0zen. But when it mattered later on in the game, he was able to find the Bulwark. He was able to find enough armor gain to get out of range of the combo despite lnguagehackr drawing pretty quickly. And lnguagehackr wasn't able to discover one of the things outside of his deck that could have, you know, potentially won up the game with Mask of Cthulhu or Ignite, or in this instance, the third Garrote off the Steward of Scrolls. Just wasn't able to get quite enough to get there. I like